It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the New Mexico Highlands head women's soccer coach, Coach Amanda Evans. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college women's soccer?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that was never really the plan. I went to school to be a marine biologist and then decided to become a teacher. After I graduated, well, I was in my senior year of college and I was training with the semi-pro team, but I kind of knew I wasn't going to kind of play further in my career. So I thought, well, I like the game, so maybe I'll just check out coaching. And so I walked into the nearest high school and just said, do you need a coach? And I was hired to be like a JV coach. And that spring, the season was in the fall. So that spring, the head varsity coach was like, well, why don't you come coach with my club team and, check it out and bring your husband, because he was also a soccer player. So we were both like, all right, let's just go and see, if we know what we're doing. And I think within 10 minutes during the game, we were like out on the sideline yelling and trying to help. And so I was a high school coach for 3 years and club coach, and the varsity coach had applied to some college jobs, and I was kind of like, oh, you can just like do that. You can just go be a full-time coach, like that's a thing. And so from there, I kind of had my eyes set on trying to get into that career. And so through all the amazing opportunities I got, I am now here. So
What was that experience like going to Hawaii Pacific and playing collegiate soccer?
it was great. I mean, I definitely got a little homesick, but I think all freshmen do. That's kind of part of the process of growing up. But it was an amazing experience. Actually, I grew up in my mom was a single mom of 4 children, and very close with my dad as well. But when I went to Hawaii, it was only my second time on an airplane, and I didn't have the money to go visit the university or anything. So I kind of committed, and I think one of my high school graduation gifts was just a one-way plane ticket to Hawaii. And so that's how I kind of figured out life. And so luckily I had a couple of siblings that went to college before me, so they gave me some good advice and helped me along the way. And I'm also a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So going to Hawaii, 1 in 20 people are members of the church there. And so when I got there, I had an immediate community that really supported me and kind of, helped me grow as a person. And so the experience was amazing. The aloha spirit is a real thing. The people there are wonderful, and obviously it's Hawaii, so it's gorgeous.
How was that experience like getting to put on that uniform and representing Hawaii Pacific?
I mean, I think anytime you put on that first college uniform, it's really special. And I don't think you realize how special it is until it's your senior year and you realize, oh my gosh, these last 4 years went by really fast. But certainly it was an honor. I remember when I got my first like warm-up jacket that said Hawaii Pacific University on it. When I went home for Christmas, I was like really proud to wear it at the airport. So people would be like, oh my gosh, she goes to Hawaii. Like, oh, she's on her way to Hawaii. She plays soccer in Hawaii. And so I just remember feeling like really proud to be able to kind of like show off just, the school and the program that I was really had a lot of pride in.
For you, what was that experience like playing semi-pro?
It was good. I mean, back then we didn't really have the leagues that we have today. So I did a lot of training with them, but we didn't travel a lot. We weren't getting paid or anything like that. So it was just kind of a lot of training and prep work. Actually, when I was coaching and kind of transitioning as a player, that's when we had the WPS started. And so the WPS had tryouts all around the country. And I knew I didn't have much of a shot, but I decided I wanted to be able to tell my grandkids that I tried out for a professional team. Like who can say that? So I looked at all of the open tryouts around the country and I chose whatever was the cheapest flight. And it happened to be DC, so I flew out to DC, first time ever in DC. Flew out there, tried out for a professional team. The good news is I wasn't the worst person there, so I felt pretty good. They only took one person to training camp, and she happened to be playing my position, and she was really good. So I could live with that. But it was a really, really amazing experience. I'm glad I did it. And it ended up paying off because afterwards, I actually was interviewed by a newscasting group in Afghanistan, and they wanted us to like talk about like I guess motivate the women who maybe can't play but want to in other countries. So that was a really neat opportunity. And then when I went to the United Soccer Coaches Convention, they had the WPS draft. And so I was planning on going to the convention as a coach, but then all of a sudden I get this draft card in the mail because I tried out for the team. So I'm technically in the draft. And I was like, oh, how cool is this? Like I get to go sit in the draft room for like the first women's professional team and or league. So I actually went and I sat up front because why not, you know? And it was a small room, but there's like a lot of really famous soccer people there. And the girl sitting next to me, I didn't know. And I was just chatting with her. I'm like, are you excited? She's like, oh, yeah, I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know this is going to be fun. And then they're like, first round pick, Megan Rapinoe. And the girl next to me stands up and she goes, and I was like, oh my gosh. So here I am, you know, somebody that nobody knew, but because I showed up and just wanted to have the experience and appreciate it, I got to, you know, meet Megan Rapinoe and a lot of other really, really awesome people who are passionate about the game just like me. And so yeah, I had some really amazing experiences playing semi-pro and also trying out for a pro team.
What was that experience like for you getting started in coaching in college and starting up a college program at Salt Lake Community?
Yeah, so I was a little stressed about it because I had never coached at the college level. And most coaches, when they start off as an assistant coach or like a graduate assistant. And here I was given Salt Lake Community College at the time. They at the time it was a club team that they wanted me to start. And they hired me, I think it was like mid-July or first week of August. And they were like, okay, the season starts in the middle of August. Here's $7,000, like good luck. And so on one hand, it was like, okay, what do we do? And on the other hand, it was just a true like baptism by fire. You know, we really kind of got thrown into it. And so we had to figure it out. And you know, Tony and I have been coaching together now for 20 years. And at the time we'd been coaching together for a few years and we were married at that point. So it was an exciting opportunity for us. And so we enjoyed it. We raised like $20,000 a year to be able to drive the team. We drove the team everywhere. I think our shortest trip was like a 5-hour drive. The rest are all like 10 plus hours. And but you know, that was before we had kids and we were in our 20s, so we had the energy for that stuff. But yeah, it was an amazing experience. And then by our second season, we were ranked 11th out of 60 teams in the West. And we kind of built that program to be successful. And then after we left, obviously, now they've been top 5 in the nation for a while. So we're really proud of that program and what it's become. And because we always saw that potential in it. And so we're glad that other people saw it too.
How was that experience like going to Northland College and becoming their head coach?
Yeah, so Northland College was my second coaching position, but it was my first full-time head coaching position. So Salt Lake Community College was a part-time thing. So going to Northland College was an amazing opportunity because it was basically that first full-time position. The stressful part about it was when I did my interview, I had a 2-week-old baby and I was a first-time mom. So when I actually moved out there and had the job, I had a 2-month-old and again was a new mom. So didn't really know how it was going to work out. My athletic director at the time was really supportive and let us travel with our daughter and all of those things. And so for us, the key to building Northland College, because they were second to last in the conference when we got there. And when we left, they were in playoffs. I think the biggest challenge there was just the recruiting. It was a small school of like 600 students and an environmental emphasis. But it was in a gorgeous area of the country. If you've never been up in northern Wisconsin, right on Lake Superior is beautiful. And so we just had to be really strategic in how we recruited and how we found people that want that environmental studies and those kinds of things. And so that allowed us to be really successful. And unfortunately, there was administrative changes that did not support me being a mom. So it just wasn't a place where we wanted to stay. But certainly building the program there was really exciting because it was our first full-time job. And so we had a good time there.
What was that transition like going to Compton College?
Yeah, so to go from a small school in northern Wisconsin to Compton College is definitely different. So I actually left coaching. So I didn't feel like I said, the situation in Northland College had changed, and so I didn't have support as a mom. So we decided let's find somewhere else to go. My husband had lived in Southern California before we met, so we thought, all right, let's just relocate there and I'll just leave coaching. At the time, I actually thought maybe I'm just not cut out for it. Maybe I'm not strong enough. Maybe it's me. And so we moved to Southern California and I went back to teaching. And then a couple months after that, I kind of thought like, screw them. Like I do want to coach this, I love teaching, but I'm more passionate about coaching. And so at that point I had made the decision that I was going to get back into it. I had a second child as well that year. And so in May I applied for the Compton position and I got it. But it was also a part-time position. So I was a full-time teacher and then I was teaching at Compton in the evenings. Compton was a phenomenal experience. I learned so much as a coach and as a person. So I'm really, really grateful. I loved my players and the experience that we had there. The only reason probably I didn't stay longer was because it was a part-time position. But I was there for 4 years and I had players from all different crazy backgrounds and crazy stories that you could imagine. I mean, I had some players, we would take them, one of our preseason activities is we'd take them to the beach and I'd teach them all how to surf. And some of them had never even been to the beach, even though they only grew up, a few miles from it. So it was a pretty neat experience to be able to work with those players. My first year there, I think we struggled a bit, but but then I decided, if we're not focusing on grades and like supporting these players in the way that they need to be supported, then we're not really doing our jobs. And so our last 2 years there, 100% of our players had 4-year playing offers. And so we took a lot of pride in being able to give our players the opportunity to, continue in the sport if they wanted to. So it was pretty
What was
rewarding.
that experience like for you going to Mary Baldwin?
Yeah, so then after Compton, we decided to relocate. So that kind of came about because Compton was part-time. So at that point now I had 3 children and I was working at a middle school full-time. I was coaching the middle school boys team and we were second in the region. And then I was also coaching at Compton College. And so I was kind of like, okay, I'm a mom of 3 and I'm working 3 jobs. This isn't working. And so decided that I had to get a full-time position again. So I knew that so at that point I just started applying to different full-time positions that I thought were a good fit. Came across Mary Baldwin. It was in a great location, Stanton, Virginia, and all of that. So we relocated there and took over, Mary Baldwin University's program. We took them from, they had won 2 conference games in 11 years. And then our last year there, we were 3rd in the conference. So it was a lot of fun to be able to use all of the skills that we had accumulated at our other universities to rebuild the program. And so we were really excited to do that there. There was a lot of potential to do that. And so that was a great transition. We had never been to the East Coast, so we really enjoyed that and exploring. Had another kid, so now I'm up to 4, and everything like that. So, but Mary Baldwin, similarly, it was a great opportunity, but my husband was still a part-time coach, so we were only living on one full income. And so bigger picture, we knew 2 things. One, that we wanted to go somewhere where he could be a full-time assistant. And 2, somewhere where well, I had played Division II, so I always wanted to coach D2. That was kind of always the plan. And then the third thing was I wanted to go somewhere where I could have practices on my own time so that I could be home when my kids got home. You know, the challenge with Division III is they have a lot of academic focus, which is great, but because they're smaller universities, there's not a lot of academic options. And so we had to practice after 3 o'clock every day, which meant I would either not be able to tuck my kids into bed at night or I'd miss dinner every day. So finding a university that supported me as a mom and allowed me to have practice at different times so that I could be there for my kids was a huge priority for us. And we found that here at Highlands, so it's been pretty awesome.
Coming to New Mexico Highland, what was that experience like, bringing in that head coaching experience from your previous universities?
Yeah, so I'm really, really excited to be at Highlands because so every program we've been at, we've rebuilt, right? We've taken them from the bottom all the way up to the top 3 or better. And Highlands is a great university to do that. The school here, the team hadn't won a game in 3 years, but the community here is amazing. The campus is great. The academics are good. And so for us, it was like, this is a place where we can really build a program like we've done in the past, but here we have a lot more resources to do it and a lot more administrative support as well. And so, so that was really important to us. And so when I came out for my interview, I was a little worried that it was going to be like an Arizona desert. No offense to all the people that live in deserts, but it was just not my thing. And so I was a little nervous, but then once I came out here, I realized like it's in the northeast corner of New Mexico and it's actually in the mountains. So we get 4 seasons and there's a lot more trees and hiking and a lot of really cool recreation stuff here. And so that was a really nice surprise. And another reason that I was kind of like, yeah, this feels right. This is where we're supposed to be. And so, yeah, so transitioning from the East Coast back to the Southwest is obviously very different. I will say the food's a lot better here, but it's obviously very different. But we're loving it. And we bought a house right when we moved here. And so, yeah, we're really getting settled and we're excited about the future of Highlands University because there's a lot of amazing things happening here. So.
For you, what was that feeling like, stepping onto that soccer field for the first time as a head coach?
You know, I think I didn't even think about it, because we had already been kind of coaching club in high school and never really thought about that first head coaching job. But I have to, reference Ted Lasso a bit because I love Ted Lasso. I've probably watched it a million times. And one of the things in the first episode, when they're trying to come in and rebuild the program, and he and his assistant coach, they kind of like rearrange the office, and then they have the team captain that's kind of grumpy, that kind of comes in and he's like, I didn't think I'd ever finish my career with kind of a joke like you, and he leaves, and Ted goes, man, you think he's mad now? Wait till we win him over. And I love that scene because that's totally how it is. Now, granted, the players weren't like that when I came here, but every program that we've taken over, first we come in, we rearrange the office, we get it up to where we want it. But also, like, you have all those personalities on a team. You have a young player who's really talented, but maybe isn't a team player. You have a captain who, thinks that they know best. Like, there's all these different personalities and factors, and it's so much fun to be able to come in and figure out how to piece it all together to be successful and to get them all on the same page. And so we've been able to do that everywhere we've been. The nice thing about Highlands is when we got here, our team, there were only 13 returners, but the drama was really low. Like, they had the right focus and the right mentality, which for us means that we can build this program quicker than we have in the past. And so, so the team here has been a lot of fun to work with. So stepping on the field, like with each new program, kind of has that feeling of just excitement and energy. And I also think that, like, during the off season, like during Christmas, I'm out recruiting, but I'm not out coaching. And every time we get back out on the field, like right now, it was just a really sunny day and we got to practice outside and everything. It always re-energizes you as a coach and as a player. That just, like, we love what we do, and it's just so much fun to be out here together with the people that you care about and to be able to see them grow. So I think stepping out on the field as a head coach is always just exciting and takes a lot of pride, because you have so much belief in your players, and so it's always fun to see them grow.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Yeah, so the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference is one of the most competitive conferences in the country. We had 3 teams this year that were ranked top 5 in the nation. Most of the teams that we play are in Colorado. Our outliers are Black Hills State in South Dakota and Westminster University in Utah, and then the rest of the teams are all in the Colorado area. So some of the top teams in our conference are Colorado University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, Colorado School of Mines, Colorado Mesa University. They all did really well this year. Metro State, Adams State, Fort Lewis, Colorado Christian, Western Colorado. So a lot of Colorado schools, but they're all in our conference. And so we have about 13 teams in the conference. And so we play 12 games every year, which means we have about 8 non-conference games a year. So
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams come to your home facility?
So I think that that's something that is going to get even better. Right now, we actually play off-site and we share a field with the high school for our games. We have an on-campus turf field, but we don't play on it because of the measurements. So we practice on campus, but we play off campus. Our university president announced a few months back that one of his priorities is to get women's soccer back on campus and to fix our turf field so that we can play here at home. Right now, the atmosphere is still great. I mean, we have so many fans that come. We had 2 games that we had rain delays, and it was terrible, like raining weather. And we'd come out when they'd restart the game and we'd still have fans in the stands that are just super committed. And so that was just really cool to see. I would say we have more support here than I've had at any other university I've been at when it comes to fans and the community supporting and the faculty supporting and all of that. So that's been really awesome, which is why we're really excited to get on campus, because I'm sure once we're on campus and in the stadium, we're going to get a lot more noise and a lot more support. So
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective athletes? And as head coach, what do you look at?
yeah, so there's a lot of different factors that we look for in players. Obviously, they have to have a skill set and be competitive enough to compete in the RMAC, because it is such a competitive conference. The players that are in this conference are very fast and physical, but they're also really smart. And so we're looking for those types of players here. As far as recruiting goes, something that we're very intentional about is having a really diverse roster. So there's no doubt I could fill my entire roster with kids from New Mexico and we'd be really competitive because there's some great players here. But I think it's really important to have diversity in our roster, because not only does it bring different styles of soccer to the game, but it also helps us grow as people. And so going into next year, for example, we have 10 players committed already. 4 of them are from New Mexico, 3 of them are from the States, and 3 of them are international. So for us, it's really important to kind of have that diversity in our recruiting. So we also, we want players, like I said, that are competitive and physical and fast and smart. But we also just want good people. I kind of tell the players, like, I have to like you, because I'm going to be with you for the next 4 years too. So we like to have a lot of fun. We like to play music at practice, and but we also work really hard. And so we want players that are committed and dedicated to that, and that are ready to help us create a new legacy here. And so those are kind of the things that we're looking for and what we're excited about in our incoming class. We're going to have about 15 to 17 new players coming in next year. So half of our team is going to be completely new. So we're going to be coming in with a lot of energy and a lot of growth over the next couple of years, which we're really excited about.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that New Mexico jersey for the first time versus your seniors putting it on for the last time?
Yeah, so that's probably the best thing as a coach. Like I said, like when I step on the field as a first-time head coach, I didn't think about it, but I always think about my players. And my assistant coach and husband, Tony, he has a really great speech that he kind of always does every year about putting on that jersey for the first time and having so much pride in it, but also making sure that we kind of stop that moment and let them remember it and see it so that they don't forget it like I did. And so that's always a really, really cool experience to see freshmen put it on for the first time. It kind of, gets you all excited again. And then for the seniors, it's even more emotional because I think they really understand that, I mean, a lot of our players go on to play like overseas or semi-pro or things like that, but still, like there's nothing like college ball. And so seeing them put it on for the first last season is always, I think, more emotional because like they recognize how special it is. And so it's hard not to kind of just get emotional, but also it's a great time to just reflect on how far you've come. From your freshman to your senior year, you just grow so much as a person. Like a lot of us, when we reflect on like our growth, like college is one of the biggest times we grow as people, right? And so to be able to kind of reflect on how far they've come and survived. I mean, surviving 4 years of college soccer is a lot. So it's always really exciting for both of those moments, and we like to highlight those for sure within our locker room.
As a head coach, how is it like getting to see them going into playing professional soccer after their collegiate career?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, you go through steps as a player, and so going to play professionally is different. um, because, well, one, it's your sole focus. Right now as a college athlete, you're juggling jobs and school and study time and all of those things. When you go to the professional level, you can really focus in on your craft, and really hone in on that. But with each level comes more pressure, right? So, you go from high school and then you go to college, it's a lot more pressure to perform, to be competitive. And so then you move up to the professional level and it's the same. Like we still have fun, we still work hard, we're gonna cry, we're gonna sweat, we're gonna bleed. But we're also gonna have a group of women that we respect that are gonna be there to pick us up when we fall. And so at the pro level, it's just like that as well. And the stakes are higher for sure. But you're still gonna create that community and that bond that you get at every level that you play at. So we make a point to really respect that process within our program, and respect kind of the love that we have as sisters. I kind of say like you might not like your sister every minute of every day, but you love them and you support them and you're always going to be there to back them up. And that's kind of the philosophy that we have in our locker room as well.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Yeah, so obviously, the future plans, we're really excited to get a new facility. That's going to be huge for us. Recruiting is going to be really big, especially the next two years. We're going to bring in two pretty large classes to help us build the program and be competitive. We still keep under 30 players on the roster, but it'll be important for player development to be able to bring in that talent and develop that talent over the next 4 years. I think it's really important that we take the players that we do have that are competitive and that have created a really good culture, and we continue those traditions and those cultures, or that culture and those traditions. So we're kind of looking at what are some of the traditions that we've had for the last, couple of decades that we've had a program, and then, what traditions are we going to add to the program that's going to enhance it? On top of, like I said, it's just an exciting time because our university is also expanding, and we're also, have construction going on campus for a lot of other things. We just renovated our business department. Our facilities is being renovated as we speak. So there's a lot of really exciting things happening that I think are going to not only bring new energy into the campus, but also bring energy into our program. And so we're really excited about the future here and how how that's going to grow and how we're going to create a winning legacy here.
What advice would you give those future players out there looking to play collegiate soccer?
So my advice is, number one, don't limit yourself and don't limit your options. It's really important as a player for you to reach out to NAI, D3, D2, D1 schools. Don't just focus on 3 D1 schools that are your dream schools. One of the best experiences that I had as a player, like, I didn't have anyone helping me get recruited or teaching. This is how old I am. I was sending out VHS tapes to like coaches, right? And I sent one out to, I remember, UC Davis. And because I just did all the vet schools, like all the top vet schools in the country. And the UC Davis coach actually called me up and she basically told me, she's like, look, even if you're good enough to play here, you won't be able to afford it. And, she just was really straight with me. And I really, really appreciated that because I had my eyes set on, these top 5 schools in the nation. And I didn't know, nobody told me like, you should look at everything, right? And so when I found Hawaii, it was such a great fit and such an amazing experience. And I was really grateful for that. So, for me, it's like, if you are a soccer player, there's somewhere that you can play. You have to be willing to go anywhere, but I'm telling you, I've been at, teams at the bottom of the conference in northern Wisconsin or in Virginia, and they're looking for players. They need players. So no matter what level you are. So one, have that mentality of, you can do it. If you want to play at the college level, you can. You just got to find the right place for you. And 2, keep your options open. Don't limit yourself to just one level or one region. Like, take the time to study and reach out to a lot of schools, and be persistent. As coaches, I have a player that she sent me like 3 emails and I kind of missed them because I was just going through a lot of other emails and and then she finally sent me a 4th email and it got through, and she's now committed and she's coming here next fall. And so I'm excited about it. She's excited about it. But if she wasn't persistent, that wouldn't have happened. And so as a player, you have to also be persistent. So don't forget that. But love the game. If it's not fun, don't do it. It's meant to be fun. And that's, a big part of how I coach and how we play here. So find that program that fits you, and don't give up. So that's my advice.
What advice would you give those future head coaches looking to get started in the program?
Yeah. So, the biggest thing in coaching is, okay, one, get involved in the communities. So right now, United Soccer Coaches is kind of a place for all coaches. It's meant to connect coaches. I'm currently the chair of the women's coaches community. So if you're a female coach or somebody who coaches women, get connected with our community. And that can be as simple as following us on Instagram. Because then you'll hear about opportunities, about scholarships, about licensing scholarships and things like that. WAGS is an organization, Women and Girls in Soccer. I mean, last year they actually paid for an all women's C license course. And so there's lots of opportunities if you get involved. There's also a Black coaches community, Latino coaches community, Asian Pacific Islander, veterans. There's like 9 communities. So definitely, find a community that you can get involved in and get connected. And that's how you can build your network. And then start from the bottom. You might have to be a volunteer coach at the closest university to your house to start off, but you got to start somewhere. So just be eager and be willing to try new things and be outside your comfort zone, because that's how you're going to learn. And so that's the advice. The other thing I would say, 4 years ago, and the way that I got involved was actually, I approached the women's coaches community and I said, we need a moms group. I've left the coaching profession because I didn't feel supported as a mom. And if I'm going through this, there's got to be other women going through this. And sure enough, myself and Yolanda Thomas co-founded the Moms Who Coach group. And now we have all of these moms who are in the coaching profession, or a lot of women that think that they're going to leave the coaching profession because they want to be a mom. And here we are saying, no, you can have the best of both worlds. And so it's been a great opportunity to get involved, because not only does it help me grow as a coach, but it also gets me connected and networking and able to support other coaches. So the best way to start your coaching career is to get involved and support each other. And that's how you're going to grow.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
So on Instagram, it's Coach Amanda Evans. And then of course our women's coaches community is women's_coaches. Also on Instagram, and that's about as technologically advanced as I am right now. So
Thank you again, Coach Amanda Evans, for your interview, and best luck in your future at New Mexico Highlands.
thank you.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Amanda Evans, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you guys, and thank you for supporting the game. Keep it up.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.